Isn't it interesting how being authentic may be seen as inauthentic by another? Isn't it interesting that in our worldview, when we express our values, those things may not be valued by others? We all think we're right to some degree, and by our own psychometric, it is the case in our inner world as we make meaning of the experiences we have. Now, that doesn't mean it makes the other person wrong. It just means that you may not understand the other person and therefore project your own thoughts into the situation at hand. So how can we better understand others and their worldview, thus ensuring better relationships and conversations with those we seek to serve and care for? Join me on this journey as I speak to international speaker, author and master network marketer Kalpesh Patel as he shares how being authentic is being in rapport with oneself, and knowing how to express it, the friction with others disappears. Hi folks, it's Jatinder Palaha. Welcome to another Digital Rapport Master Series. And today we have an international speaker, author, a dear friend of mine, who's an entrepreneur and a very inspiring person, Kalpesh Patel. So Kalpesh, firstly, thank you very much for inviting us into your home, into your busy schedule, and allowing this time to, take this time to do this interview with you.
I'm honoured. I've known you for years. The first time you're coming over, right?
I know.
Gosh,
Amazing, isn't it?
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thank you very much. And so Kalpesh, just so that the viewers get to know a bit about you, just feel free to tell them what you do, how long you've been doing it, what you're up to, kind of thing.
My worst question, what do you do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, so much. So first of all, thanks for watching this interview, and I hope you get a lot of value from it. I'm an entrepreneur, have been ever since I can remember, and I also have a massive passion for making a difference. I have a gift and a talent of speaking, which I discovered 20 odd years ago. And whenever I get an opportunity, I'll get in front of an audience and share my stories, and in my own unique way, hope to inspire people to step into their greatness. Let's kind of put it that way. I love creating. I love helping others to bring out the best in themselves. And for me, we've got one short life. We were just talking about this earlier, right? Life is short. I know we live it like we're going to be here forever, and that's cool from one perspective, but sometimes we lack urgency in terms of the things that we're really passionate about. And I'm a big fan of inspiring people to find out what it is that you're really, really passionate about, and just do it. Just however big, small, whatever scale, but do something towards it, because that's how you're going to build that into your life, right? Just by getting started now. It's not about perfecting it. Get started and then move forward.
Yeah. So even just from that intro, you can see there's going to be some magic happening here today. Right? To begin with then, right? So if we dive straight into the nitty gritty of things, right? I mean, we're talking about this whole concept of rapport. What would you say is rapport?
So rapport for me is the ability to connect with another human being, fundamentally, right? It's making that connection. And there's many different levels of connection that you can create with another person. On the broadest scale, it's being the best version of yourself, so that you can attract others that represent who you are,
right,
and make a bigger dent in the planet by attracting that energy and elevating it.
Yeah. So just to elaborate a bit more on that you said that attracting others. Go into that a bit further with the whole kind of rapport side of things.
Okay, so
we're going to go deep, man.
I know, right? You know me. I love these kind of conversations anyway. They're my passion. Anything that is thought-provoking and gets us to dig a little bit deeper. So in terms of attracting, what I mean is that we all, so most people go through their entire life with some kind of a mask, some kind of an act that they're used to putting on.
Yeah.
It's not even distinguished as some kind of an act or a mask. Most people relate to themselves as that facade that they've built up over years and years and years of experiences that has led them to be a certain way. And I've been blessed, as many have, to have noticed that earlier on in my life and worked on myself to a point where I've stripped away some of those masks. I'll never say all, because they're always coming back. They're invisible. They're so ingrained in who we are that, to separate them in itself is a mastery of its own kind. But to the best of our ability, people like ourselves who are committed to constantly being authentic and transparent and open will notice these masks as they pop up and remove them. Because when you remove these versions of ourselves and get to the core of who you genuinely are, then people can see who you are for real. And it's a lot easier for them to then connect with that real you, because otherwise you don't know who you're connecting to and what you're connecting with. The conversation we had earlier before when you were setting things up as well about certain social media experts that teach how to put on a fake profile, fundamentally, how to have things pre-designed and robots and whatever else they do to create engagement. No, just let people know who you truly are, what you're passionate about, what you stand for, and the right people will find you. And either they'll be inspired by that to elevate themselves, or they're already there or beyond, and energy exchange will happen, and everyone will win.
So it's like your vibe attracts your tribe, yeah?
Yeah, exactly, right? So, yeah.
So do you reckon then the rapport has got a lot to do with how you're resonating and, like you said, what you're attracting then? Yeah,
it has. For me, I'm always going on about if you can tap into who you really are, really learn to, and it is a learning curve, learn to speak in a way that expresses who you are, that makes it clear what you stand for, what's important to you, what your values are, then you're emitting a certain vibration, you're giving off a certain energy and a certain, you're tapping to a certain frequency that others in that path, like I said, will find it easy to find you. And even if they're not in that same frequency, if they want to, if they're attracted by it, they'll be drawn towards you. Because, I often get, Kalps, gosh, it's like, there's something about you. Well, I always say that there's something about me because it's inside of you and you're just searching for it. Otherwise, there'd be nothing about me, right? It's just the reason there's something about me to a certain individual is because they're in search of that already inside of themselves. And so for me, that's the power of that, the ability to be real, is that you can make a much, much deeper and more profound difference to the world and the people around you when you can get to that space inside of yourself, right?
Okay, so let's go on that a bit further. Then how do you tap into that side? How do you get connected with your kind of truer self?
So I can only share my journey as I always do. And for me, it's been a lot of self-reflection. People don't pause. I pause a lot. They don't analyze situations, experiences, frictional conversations, things that don't work. They don't sit there and say, hold on, what was my role in that? What could I have done in that situation differently, better, to avoid that miscommunication, that misunderstanding, that misrepresentation of who I am, or how I got misread? How can I improve on all of those things? So it's that constant journey of improving yourself. And a lot of that improving yourself, yes, of course, externally, read great books, listen to great orators, and attend great events. All of those things help. But fundamentally, don't we all know tons of people that do all of those things and still make no progress? The biggest platform for progress is internal. And if we can spend that little bit of time every day, consistently throughout the day as well. At the end of each interaction, just have a little recap of how did that conversation go? At what points were you being authentic and transparent and real? And at what points were you losing that connection? When you're analyzing, and analyzing is probably the wrong word, when you're observing who you are in relationship to the world around you and how it's responding to you, you accelerate that ability to communicate your message more clearly. It's been a journey of constant learning, that commitment to knowing yourself better. And so as I look at my life and the times when I was really not in rapport with anybody, we have defining moments that really break us away from everything. I had a really massive one in my early 20s, 23 years old. My dad passed away and I disconnected from everything. So if we talk about rapport, and the opposite of that is breaking rapport completely. I broke rapport with everything, with my business, my then girlfriend, my family, my friends, everything. So disconnected from everything, lost all interest. And then I didn't know how to build rapport again. I'd lost myself for 2 years. I was a lost soul, going through life with a lot of anger and resentment and just this whole heavy cloud over my head of self-pity and being a victim of my own creation, so to speak. I made the worst of a really bad situation. And I did that, but I didn't take responsibility for it. It was always the world's fault, everyone else's faults other than mine. And it was learning. And so it started off with all the reading the books, listening to the right information, watching the right information, turning up at events. And I got really addicted to learning.
Okay.
Learning about myself and learning about human behavior patterns and how we can improve ourselves.
Right.
This journey of self-awareness and self-improvement led me to realizing a few things. Fundamentally, I knew a lot of people that were on the same path, but not improving.
Okay.
So I was like, this is really strange. They're listening to the same information, reading the same books, attending the same events, and yet the conversations aren't changing. And the one of the most kind of profound things that I was found for me that was adding value to my life was introspection.
Right.
So whatever I was feeding myself from outside, I'd then do something with that. So I'd say, right, so Kalpesh, where do you fit in to all of this?
Yeah.
How can I take responsibility?
Yeah.
If it's true what these wisdom of the ages tell us, that we create our reality, then why am I creating this insane version of life?
Yeah.
So going from, oh my God, it's all happening to me, to, well, if I can really create this, how does that work?
Right.
And that's all internal.
Yeah.
There's nothing outside. There's no book, there's no seminar, there's no guru that's going to tell you how to change other than yourself. You are your own guru.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of the things I talk about a lot. If you can learn to be your own mentor, your own coach, your own guru, that's the peak of all self-awareness.
Right. Right.
Nobody outside is going to help you fix your life, right?
Yeah, that's true.
They can give you a nudge in the right direction. They can push you towards, but ultimately, if you can understand yourself on a much deeper level, then you literally can pull the strings of how you experience life.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's that ability to go internal. Meditation helps massively.
Right.
This thing that I call pressing pause.
Yeah.
I talk about having the remote control of your life in your hands, right? You can stop, press pause.
Yep.
You can re-edit it, play it again. You can literally just mess around with this stuff that goes on in here and often sinks into here.
Yeah.
You can actually mess around with this and recreate it so that it serves you.
Right,
and it serves your higher self.
Okay. So I'm getting a few things from there. I'm getting one about going inward, like connecting with your inner self, right? The other thing that seems to be coming across is having some sort of awareness, presence to it as well. And then you said something that once you've got those things, then you can affect the things around you. So would you say that would be like an intent or something, or would you say that's what would you say on that side?
So I'll just rephrase that a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said that, but if I did, that's not what I meant. I don't believe you can affect the things around you.
Okay.
I do believe that you can affect the way that you experience the things around you.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So one of the things I always talk about, life is always going to happen. You cannot control life. Contrary to what many people will tell you.
Yeah.
And I read this very, very differently as a result of spending years and years on the inside, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
You can't control what goes on the outside. That's one thing life has definitely taught me through my time.
Yeah.
But what you can do is just experience it in a way that it doesn't throw you completely off balance.
Right.
And it might for a while, but not for so long that it impacts you negatively for long periods of time.
Right.
The more aware I've become, the easier it is for me to navigate through the waters, like when life starts crashing. When the waves come crashing in out of nowhere, unexpected. The recovery time's a lot faster.
Right.
And oftentimes that recovery time is almost instant.
Right.
And what I mean by that is when you know yourself so well, then you know when you're about to cause destruction, for example. And I'll give a very simple example. Is we live in an extended family. My mum, my brother, his wife, 3 kids, 7 of us. And we have done forever, ever since day dot. And there's an art to that because everyone's got a different personality. Everyone's got their own version of everything. And navigating yourself around that smoothly takes the ability to press pause constantly. Because it would be easy to destroy somebody else's version of a conversation.
Like breaking rapport, it's
easily.
Yeah.
When somebody has a different opinion, a different view, a different way that the chair should be, or the way the plate should be, whatever, everyone's got their own version of their reality of how things should be. And if we were all fighting to implement that, it'd be a nightmare. Which is why a lot of times families don't get on, because they're fighting. You often hear it, don't you? They fight over the littlest of things.
That's right.
And it's that inability to say, hold on a second, none of that is important. What's important, and more important than anything else, is us. If us is number one priority, the rest is just noise. And now when somebody does something opposite to how you would have done something, it doesn't annoy you, it doesn't get on your nerves. And that's what I mean by instant. That it doesn't even affect you. Like you don't even notice it as a friction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas before, everything was friction, right?
Right.
If I go back 21 years, it was all friction.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
there's no friction.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty amazing, because then what you're saying there is that kind of ability to adapt, because
Perfect.
you know yourself in sync or synchronicity or in rapport with other people.
Yes.
And then being able to adapt and
Correct.
flow through all of that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, beautifully said. And adapting is a great way to put it, because that's what you can do. The only thing you can control is how you are in all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be people coming into your life that are going to be a certain way.
Yeah.
They're going to look a certain way. They're going to speak a certain way.
Yeah.
They're going to behave in a certain way.
Yeah.
And if that's governing you, what a nightmare of a life. I can't imagine, because I used to be like that many years ago, but I could not imagine living like that today. Why? Like, when you've got other choices available, it's insane to have that as your first option.
Exactly. Yeah.
When you can actually shift that completely and realize that nobody and nothing can affect you permanently. And what you can control is how quickly you close that permanence to immediate.
Right.
Letting go, forgiving, creating peace, seeing the best in the situation, seeing the best in them. All of these practices are practices. And the more you implement them into your being, the easier everything around you becomes. And I often say that then life is bliss.
Yeah. So would you say then that that's like the crux of how, because I've seen you many times when when you're on stage, you're speaking, when you're interacting with people, that you've got this ability to kind of have this instant rapport with people. And would you say that that's where it comes from, is that's the crux of how to actually create the instant rapport, if that makes sense?
Yeah, and again, instant rapport, I love that phrase. You might want to what do you call it?
Coin it.
Make that yours. I know you're the digital rapport expert. So yeah, instant rapport. Do you know what? As a speaker, I often, not even often, like every time I speak, literally, will get people from the audience coming up to me. And these are people that have been on all the seminars. And they'll come up to me and say, "Oh my goodness, Kalpesh, that was by far the most amazing experience I've had in an audience from a speaker."
Yeah, I vouch for that, because I've seen you speak, man. Do you know what I mean? So
and I get that a lot. And I do take it for granted, as everyone that has any gift that was given to them takes for granted. I do take it for granted. But when those conversations happen, I'm reminded, and I'm always thankful and blessed that that's been given to me. It's not a strategy. People are like, what is the strategy? For me, it's not and there probably is a strategy if somebody studied it from the outside, but for me, I'm not being strategic.
Sure, yeah.
And that comes back to what we said at the beginning. I'm just being me.
But being authentic, true to yourself.
Correct. And I think anyone, if they can get to that point where they're completely transparent in a conversation, what's there not to fall in love with?
Yeah.
Because I believe everyone is searching for the ability to be themselves. And hence what we said earlier in the conversation, that if you can be yourself, you will naturally inspire others to wanting to be themselves.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Because everyone wants to express something and is fearful, stops themselves through fear of being judged, or past conversations about themselves, or whatever the whole plethora of situations that may surround them as to why they're not able to express themselves. But self-expression is thwarted massively in, I mean, I don't know the statistics, but I would assert over 95% of planet Earth walks around hiding their self-expression.
Honesty, express yourself.
And the handful that do are attractive to the 95%.
Right.
Because they're looking for that. They're like, wow, if only I could be that expressed, that real, that transparent. But they're too scared. And so they tread on eggshells, whether it's at work, at home, in friendships. It's all about fitting in. It's all about being liked. It's all about external forces governing who you're being. And it's okay. It'll get you through. I always say the difference between surviving and thriving life, right? It's fine to survive, but gosh, when you can move away from that, the bliss really exists on the other side of that.
So, you're saying that other people are looking for it, so they see it kind of thing, right? So then would you say that plays a certain part or role when it comes to actually making that connection, the rapport, is being able to, I don't know if it's like, is it connecting with the other person's value? Is it connecting, or is it that they're looking, how would you define that a bit further? Like,
they're not necessarily looking for what you've got.
Yeah.
It's often misunderstood. They're looking for how they can bring out what you're expressing in themselves.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So they don't have my experience, they don't have my stories, they don't have my self-expression.
Yeah.
But they've got their version of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what they truly want is the ability
Yeah.
to express that, right?
Right.
And so rapport building in itself happens very quickly when you can see somebody else has got what you want.
Okay. Right.
And I'm not talking about material level, right? I'm talking about soul level.
Yeah. Yeah.
When somebody else has charisma,
Yeah.
when somebody else has a vibrant energy, a smile, they radiate a certain way, then, and if you're in a place in your life where you want to move towards that, it's easy then to say, hey, you know what? I want to learn whatever it is that I can from this person.
Right, got it. But let's say if we then like follow through on that when you say the material side of it, because you do have the kind of learned response as well. For example, in sales, when people are trying to create sales, you know, some people are good at rapport, some people are not good at rapport, and all that kind of thing. How does that play out? How does that dynamic?
So there's strategies you can learn around rapport building, very different. There are plenty of courses out there, as we all know, that will teach you the step-by-step instruction of if you tick these boxes, then you're more likely to connect with the other person.
Okay.
I think that's more connection than rapport.
Okay.
They kind of overlap.
Yeah.
But yeah, building a connection, building relatedness with another person is a lot easier. You can be very strategic around that. And that doesn't require authenticity or transparency.
Right.
Not to say that sales is not authentic or transparent. Unfortunately, a lot of it isn't, especially online.
Yeah.
As we've spoken about on many occasions, it
we'll
makes me
to that
cringe.
stuff later.
But certainly if you are authentic and transparent and then know which keys to turn in a conversation, and that's more influence than rapport.
Right.
Then you can influence a conversation and move it towards the end goal a lot faster.
Right.
So the rapport building, I think, is a little bit more personal.
Okay.
The strategy is more the technicals, right?
Okay.
Ticking boxes, saying the right things at the right time, in the right sequence can create a certain person to move in a certain direction. A little bit like playing chess.
Yeah.
So they're two different things.
Okay.
So when you apply it to sales, there's lots of ways you can get smart and you can get really far without transparency.
Sure.
But I think if you can add transparency to that conversation and your genuine desire to serve and add value and have the customer's needs met before your own, then you'll excel at a level that I think is just that one notch ahead of the strategic stuff.
Right. So that leads on nicely to the next point about, like you said, the needs, the understanding the other person, where they're coming from. Because I think with the whole sales side of it, it's really connected to about understanding your audience, if you wanted to say that, your target audience, the people. So let's go a bit more to kind of the stage speaking that you do, you know, when you're on stage, because that's a different type of rapport. That's like group rapport, right? There's like an audience going on, there's many people going, and you're trying to interact with all of them. What's the dynamic in that kind of situation?
Again, when I think about when I'm on stage, so I've in 20 plus years of speaking to audiences of one person, up to audiences of tens of thousands of people. I've never had a script. I've never had a piece of paper or a list. I've memorized presentations.
Okay.
But that's very different. I'm talking about engaging with an audience. Delivering a presentation is very different to delivering a speech or a talk.
Got it.
So whenever I've done a talk, whenever I've been sharing, and I can do for hours, as you know, I've done like 2-day workshops, and I don't have any scripts.
That's
I
right,
don't have any, it's just an engagement.
Yes.
That's me being me, and my own way of explaining that is that whatever I'm hoping to achieve in that environment, I know my fundamental outcome.
Okay.
And the outcome is to give them maximum value.
Right.
I don't know how that's going to look. I don't know how the conversation is going to unravel. I don't know what conversations are going to take place, but I'm open. I'm totally open, and I trust, and that's a huge one. When you know yourself, I trust that whatever conversation comes up at whatever point during that interaction, I don't have to have the answers. A lot of speakers think it's about having the answers and being prepared, and that's one way of doing stuff. But when my commitment is to the people that have trusted their time and effort and energy into being in a space with me, then my number one priority is them. And so I listen, and I'm guided. And again, that's what I mean by gifted.
Yeah.
This isn't something I've trained myself in, although naturally you train yourself. If you do anything consistently and often enough over time, you get trained in it. But I've not consciously trained myself to do what I do.
Yeah.
I just get there and trust that whatever has got me here, that universal energy, that force, that strength that guides every conversation when you're authentic and transparent, then it's not about being one step ahead. It's not about, then the conversation isn't chess anymore. I'm not ready to respond to you or react to you, I should say, in a certain way. I'm just going to hear where you're at, and then I'm going to search inside of what's real for me in that conversation and express it. And I do that whether it's me and you sitting here today, or whether it's me and 10,000 people in an audience.
Got it.
As far as I'm concerned, we are one. And so 10,000 or one makes no difference. That's just that's just an illusion of the mind that something different has to happen there.
That's really interesting. It just reminded me of something. I read a book on Aikido. And the founder of Aikido basically had a saying. He said that when I go into battle, seeing the enemy as one, I do battle.
Wow.
Right? So it was just reminding me that you're saying this oneness.
Isn't that interesting?
It's like, that's deep, man.
It is, because I know deep down inside that everyone in an audience that comes to learn is exactly where I was at some point in my life. And therefore we're always the same. We're just other versions of ourselves searching for answers that are pertinent to us in that moment in time of whatever we're going through in life. And so it's not about I have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. They have all the answers. So it's about sharing myself in a way that can help them to find those answers inside of themselves. That's kind of how I like to connect and communicate with an audience, right?
So what that's kind of coming across to me as is that when you're in that environment, you're very you're like in the flow to see what happens, right? But you have to be very present, right, in that environment.
Very.
You know, and being present would mean that it's like even, controlling you wouldn't have those thoughts of yourself, right? It would be more about what's going on around you.
Not just that, not just having thoughts about myself. I mean, that's like when you used to say that, I'm like, my goodness, like never on stage, right? And if I think back in the early days, it was all about myself on stage.
Right.
What are they thinking? How do I look? How do I sound?
Right.
What, did that work okay? I hope that conversation went well. All of that noise. But now there's none of that. And there's no judgment of myself,
right?
Whether I said the right thing or the wrong thing, or whether it, whether it worked or didn't work, and all of that stuff that we're trying to do. I don't have that, but I don't have that about the other person either. So, literally, and because I am that, when I'm in that environment, and even when I'm not, I just like to practice being me anyway, because I'm totally open and me and non-judgmental of myself. I think people feel comfortable to open up in that space, knowing that I won't judge them and have opinions about them that I'm going to put in the way of conversations. Like anything goes. I can talk about anything with anyone anywhere in the world and not put them in a box. Because it's just another version of whatever's going on for somebody else. Everyone's just got their own version, but fundamentally what goes on is the same. It's all insecurities and fears and the stuff that stops us from being the best version of ourselves, right? So who am I to judge whatever it is that occurs in their world? Because I've got a different version of it in my life. So it's not about what they're expressing or how they're expressing it. That's irrelevant. What's relevant is their commitment to moving forward.
Right.
And so, being present to that is what allows magical conversations to happen. And I have tons of magical conversations in my life every day with people all over the world. It's just amazing, right?
No, definitely. I mean, even just having, just sharing that now, that, I could get a sense of feeling that's how somebody would build that deep rapport, right? Is just as present as you can be, being authentic, being in that moment, and hearing and listening to what the other person, seeing where they are, and then even adapting yourself to be able to cater for that, right? Yeah, that's amazing. That's really deep. and you can see that kind of working across, you mentioned it in family, you mentioned it in sales, working on stage as well. So let's move on to an interesting topic that we were talking about before, like the whole kind of online space. Yeah,
Are we going into that
that's
conversation?
That conversation now. Like, we've seen it all the time. We've seen how much good stuff is out there, but junk is out there as well, right?
Yeah.
Like when we come into the digital space, right? Like the online, the whole social media, the whatever's going on in the online space. So I mean, because you're like we had a conversation earlier where you were saying that you're very authentic in how you share stuff or what you're doing online and things like that. But we know that there's also staged stuff and kind of stuff that people are trying to put out there, which doesn't seem to be authentic. So let's talk about that. What's your kind of view on that at the moment? And
it's the same view I've had from the beginning, and it's become a lot more noticeable in the last 10 years than prior, due to the emergence of the digital age. I remember the beginning of internet marketing days when suddenly gurus were popping up that would teach information, and it's just been it's been fascinating watching how that space has opened up. And I don't know if it's just me or if it's actually happening, but I'm hoping I've seen a little bit of quietening down of it more recently, although it still goes on. And what we're talking about is where people are manipulating audiences. They are taking advantage of, I won't say ignorance, in a way, lack of knowledge, lack of understanding. So they'll, and we've all been there, they'll pile a room full of X number of people, whether it's dozens or hundreds, doesn't matter, but they'll fill a room wall to wall and lie to them. And they'll sell them the dream, and then they'll use horrible NLP strategies and one-liners and conversations, and it's all just complete manipulation of people that are not aware. So it's not weak people, great people, committed to greatness, but they're unaware of what's going on from stage. And it's mass manipulation, it's mass hypnosis, and it's cringe factor for me because, and we've talked about this on many occasions, I won't do it. I get invited to speak on stages all over the world and have done for the last decade. And I've categorically always said no. Multi-speaker events, I'm not interested. I'll offer, they never get back to me. I say, of course, I'm more than happy to get on stage and inspire the audience, but I won't sell anything. And then I don't hear anything.
And then you don't hear anything.
And isn't that interesting? Like, hold on, you're telling me you want to serve, you want to make a difference, you want to contribute to your audience. The minute I say I'm not going to sell anything to them, you disappear. Doesn't that tell you the whole story? So they're not committed to any of that stuff. It's a shame. And I think the more we can create awareness around people, then, one thing that I'm a big fan of is never trying to change the numbers. In the beginning, it was about changing the world. Now it's more about just sharing with the world. And those that are ready will hear it, and those that aren't will not, and that's fine. So not judging that space is a practice that I've constantly got to step into. By not being a part of it, that's one part, but then observing how people then come back to me and say, I've just spent this much on this course and this much on this course and this much on this course. And I'm like, goodness, like you really, have got to press the brake for a while and reevaluate things here. Awareness comes back to that, doesn't it? When you are making any decision based on fear or greed or lack, step back.
Oh, that rhymed.
It did. There you go. Fear.
We're going to have to rewind the camera.
And lack, wasn't it? And step back. There you go. I like
That's it. That's really cool.
I've got a new rap coming.
The
audiences, for some reason, really, really love it. And I often say it's to the detriment of authentic speakers because we won't do that. And therefore people won't rush to the back of the room and sign up to your very expensive course because you didn't instruct them to. But it doesn't mean you don't have even more value to offer, but they won't see it because you didn't offer it packaged with greed and fear wrapped around it. And so we pay the price oftentimes, any authentic, genuine people that want to make that difference at the level that people like us do. And I don't see that as a loss, but I see it as a shame that the audience doesn't respond to an authentic
message,
value conversation as well as they do to a fear and greed based one. That's a shame.
Make believe kind of.
All of that whole,
So do you reckon a lot of that's could be come from this thing about like people, like you said, mentioned NLP, even though NLP is a really good thing
I love
as well.
NLP.
You know,
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, of course. It's just when it's misused.
Misused, yeah.
Like everything.
Yeah.
There's good and evil.
Yeah.
There's good and bad. There's everything's got equal and opposite side.
Yeah.
NLP as a tool
Yeah.
to help you understand yourself and bring out the best in yourself and manage yourself is super effective.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of the greatest starting places
Yes.
for anyone new
Yeah.
trying to get to grips with how their internal mechanism works. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then there are always people, again, in every situation, extremists, people on the edge of that, that are really good at grabbing great stuff
Yeah.
and then using it or misusing it for their own gain and to the detriment of others. It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame when it happens, and it's a shame, even a bigger shame, that the audience almost encourages it happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so oftentimes I look at people on the stage and I'm like, hold on, it's very easy to judge the person on stage.
Yeah.
But if the audience weren't demanding that of that person, because if that person was being genuine, I've seen that happen many times,
Right.
where they're genuinely wanting to offer and share something, and the audience doesn't respond, then you can kind of see the two sides playing out.
That's
and you can see how some people might move to the dark side because they ultimately they want to reach more audience, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I often battle with this myself. It's like, gosh, if I just had that in me to just get out there and manipulate them anyway for their own good. It's kind of weird, right? Manipulate them for their own good. Isn't that kind of a contradiction in terms?
Yeah.
But so it's an interesting dynamic that the audience is equally responsible for creating that situation.
Yeah, that's true. And do you reckon it's the whole kind of the noise, you know, it's like this big noise. They see one person doing it and all of a sudden they see all these people doing it and then they think that because everybody's doing it, they have to do it kind of thing.
Fear of loss, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Being fitting in with the right ones. Oh, well, if they're doing it, they're better than the ones not doing it.
Yeah.
It's so much going on. There's such a dynamic, so many mind games being played.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, that when you can step away and say, right, here's what I invite you to do this.
Yeah.
Audience.
Yeah.
The next time you go to one of these large multi-speaker events, go with a commitment with leaving your credit card at home and just observing the space. You'll be amazed how much more you will learn than by being in there mesmerized by the speaker. Step away from all of that and just watch what's going on in the space around you. You'll be blown away with what's actually happening. That's just a little a gift from me to you. There you go.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. With the whole kind of digital space and how everything's growing on social media, do you feel that there's more of a disconnect now between humans, between people and families and all sorts of stuff because of this social activity and the way the world's becoming so digital and online? And
you're hitting so many hot points for me right now. Great. I love it. Conversations I love having around the dinner table, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting how we're living in times now where our self-worth and our self-esteem comes from how many people like to post as opposed to real meaningful relationships and conversations with people that are actually in your life.
Yeah.
There are people that get upset when somebody speaks against them online and they've never even met that person.
That's true.
And that affects them. Can you, like for me, the distorted perception of reality in that situation where people are expressing genuine upset because somebody commented on another one of their posts negatively, and that somebody is somebody they've never even met before. And it's affecting who they're being in their life right now in this moment. And it's like something's missed in terms of what matters, what genuinely matters in this thing called life. And it's natural, of course, because it's a new world. It's a whole new world. Social media, the digital world, it's hit us sideways from nowhere. We forget it's only 20 years old.
Yes.
You know, if we suddenly go to 1997, you know, we were barely learning to make phone calls and send SMSs.
That's right.
We didn't have iPhones. We forget, right? We didn't even have Google until 99, I think it was. Facebook, 2004. And even then, only a handful of people.
That's right.
2007, 8 is when that's... So Facebook's only really been an influence for 10 years.
That's right.
We forget, most of us do not know. It's not ingrained as everyday behavior. That's what I mean. I mean, it's everyday behavior, but not for a few generations. So we're all kind of in this strange space of learning It's new learning, and most
Yeah.
people are not learning, as we know.
Yeah.
Most people are just participating.
Yep.
The few of us that are learning are analysing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, hold on, is it taking us away? Most people don't even realise it's taking them away.
Yeah.
There are conversations about it. I see some interesting practices
Yeah.
that people are starting to put in place, which are great. Like when you're having dinner with somebody, switch off your phone. What a
yeah.
great concept. Because that's always this. It's demanding on you
Yeah.
24 hours a day.
Yeah.
There are people that keep their phone by their bedside with the ringer on at night in case something pings. Oh my God, I got a Facebook. I got a like, I got a comment. It's like,
Yeah.
just learn to
Yeah.
be there when you're there and
Yeah.
not be there when you're not.
That's it. Make a
And there's a
time
lot
for
of
it.
collapse
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
You know, like we don't have phones around the dinner table.
That's awesome,
So as
yeah.
a family, we eat every day together. Evening
Yeah.
meals are just something we've done forever.
Yeah.
And we won't have our phones on.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's that important. 45 minutes isn't going to change anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, huge distraction. It can take you away from building rapport in real life.
Yeah.
You're so busy building rapport with people you think you know,
Yeah.
or you think that know you,
Yeah.
and really they don't care,
Yeah.
and neither should you. It's cool if you're, you know, for me, social media is a tool
Yeah.
that allows me to express my message to more people.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yep.
It's not my life at all. I don't share, contrary to what many might think, I don't share everything on there. A lot of my life isn't on there.
Yeah.
I'll share moments.
Yeah.
I'll share lessons that I get throughout the day in conversations or in different things happening in
Yeah.
life. But that's about it.
Yeah.
But some people live on there, right? And it's
Yeah,
insane.
that's right. Exactly.
There's a lot of benefits, of course.
Yeah.
It's made the world a lot smaller.
Yeah, definite.
We talk about tribe.
Yeah.
You know, social media is a great way to let
you're
people
there.
know you're here. And
Yeah.
if they want to work with you in that vibration,
Yeah.
then hey, come and connect and let's do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's about knowing, again, boils down to knowing who you are,
Oh, yeah.
knowing what's important, and then
Yep.
being able to make sure that you take advantage of what's around you,
Yeah.
but don't get sucked into it where it's
Yeah.
taking advantage of you.
Yeah, yeah. So hey, that's a really interesting phase because you got two sides going on there as well, right?
Yeah.
You got the pros, the cons kind of thing, and there's like almost like an interest to get some sort of active role going on in your life where you actually take control of that space, yeah. But how would you go about balancing those two things? You know, like you mentioned a little bit about being aware of what you're doing, but how, you know, because you can use it negatively, you can use it in a good way. There's pros and cons. So what was your advice on the balancing side of it? What do you reckon?
I mean, when you say you can use it negatively and positively, of course,
Yeah.
I'm always going to say use it positively. And I don't know what you mean by negatively. For me, what comes up is a couple of ways. First of all is manipulating. Whatever people do on stage, they can also do on social media.
Yeah.
Haven't we all seen those sites?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, big houses, fancy cars that have all been rented out for the weekend
Yeah.
to create a certain image to then suddenly, I'm going to sell you a course that's going to teach you how to sell the course.
That's right.
That whole thing. And then there's negatively in that naming and shaming.
Yeah.
You know, XYZ just broke up with me, dumped me. You know, my mum is this, that, and the other because she just said this to me, or my son is an idiot because he just did this.
Yeah.
It's like, so these are the people that are the most important people to you in your life,
And you shouldn't.
and you think you can just trash them on social media and then say sorry. It's funny. My post, how weird. My post this morning
Yeah.
was around that.
Okay.
Because I spotted one of these posts where I saw a lady trashing, and that's where the conversation came from, trashing how her son was with her.
Right.
And I just thought to myself, my goodness, this is your offspring. Somebody you love and cherish dearly, no doubt about it. You're committed to spending the rest of your life nurturing this being on this planet. And you've just gone and made a brash, negative statement about this person. That doesn't disappear. It's out there.
Yeah.
And the words I used was from George Michael's song,
Yeah.
A Careless Whisper.
All right.
And I just put careless whispers, sorry doesn't fix it, something like that.
Okay.
Just be mindful. Everyone has moments.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we've got to jump onto social media and tell the world about those moments, right?
Exactly.
And so just, again, press pause on social media. And share what's good. Build people up. Build value. Build conversations up. It's easy to destroy stuff, right?
That's
it's
right.
so easily done. And you can't take that back. It's out there, and you've sent that. You sent a hate message about your son to the world. Who cares? You should care. It's your son.
Exactly.
What was the purpose of that? What were you trying to achieve? Some kind of, hey, look at me, I need, I need attention.
Social approval.
Whatever's going on there, stop that, right?
Exactly.
We're better than that. It can be used for so many great things. Share the great messages to inspire people. And that doesn't mean it's being one-sided. Like I said, it's a tool. And how you use that tool affects everything, right? So why not use it just to make positive influence and positive difference?
Definitely. So going on from that, I mean, we had a brief conversation earlier on about how technology was being used to automate things, right? And we were talking about how does the automation really allow for us to connect? Does it actually create any type of rapport, or how does it work there? So if you want to share a bit about that.
I'll share actually something that I shared with you specifically, which is very relevant to this part of the conversation, is a friend of mine on social media. So I put up a post a few days ago, and she inboxed me saying, "Oh, I see you finally caught up with the message bot. Really smart," or something like that. And I was like, I don't understand. What do you mean? What message bot? And she sent back a message saying, "Oh, you've automated your social media." And I said, "No, I haven't. I just shared my own stuff." And she's like, "What? I don't understand. How can you not be? I thought you'd be all over it."
Right.
And I'm like,
what does that mean?
All over what? So it's interesting how people from the outside watching, because, and I'm not successful in social media by any stretch of the imagination, but I have been consistent with it ever since it started. And I get some engagement. And it's interesting how social media experts that are watching whatever it is that they're watching about me on social media makes them think that I have some strategic ploy, something going on using robots and whatever else it is. No, I'm just sharing things that add value, that make a difference as and when in certain moments when I feel like sharing them. And they think it's all pre-scripted and planned and mapped out in some diary, and a robot is pushing it all out. And I'm like, weird, right?
Weird.
For me, that's weird. And that comes back to manipulation. If I'm having to pre-script and do all of that, what is the intention behind it?
Exactly.
Like, what's the difference between that and me just going on and posting it at that moment in time?
It
takes just as long, whether it's pre-scripted or I do it now. I'm still going to have to write something out. Then why does it need to be pre-scripted?
Exactly.
If I'm genuine, authentic, and transparent, then I'm going to do it when it's actually happened. I'm not going to tell you something's going to happen in 3 weeks' time. I'm going to write it down now, and then it's weird, right? And it's a shame for me. It's a shame that experts are teaching people to not be real and authentic, and to do whatever that is as professional social media. Professional, maybe that's what it is. Professional. Maybe mine's not so professional, right? Mine's just sharing on social media.
Sharing authentically.
It's an interesting situation.
It definitely is. I mean, it's just like goes to show that is it like this herd mentality? Is it like this noise that people are seeing and they think you might be doing X, Y, and Z, but actually it just goes to show you're being authentic as having impact, right? So why would do those things even work?
Exactly. I got another one a little while ago. Kalpesh, I see you like all of your own posts. Are you that vain? I was like, well, if I don't like what I'm writing, I shouldn't be writing it, right?
Exactly.
So, I always say, be your number one fan. If you can be your biggest fan, then you don't need other fans, right? Then you're not doing it for that. You're not doing it for the accolades and the recognition and all the rest of it. Of course, we all love all of that, but be your own fan first. If I've got my own back, then the rest is all a bonus, right?
Exactly. It's been really amazing. I mean, like, if I was to go over now the conversations we've had, there's a few things that are kind of sticking out for me. Like, for example, you're talking about this thing about being authentic is very very deep, I think, in terms of like the whole kind of rapport side of it. Being authentic, being real with yourself, being present in the space, being able to understand others and where they are. Right, so you could say your target audience, understanding their needs, kind of thing, and then being able to serve them or share with them your experiences or what's coming across to you to help enrich their lives. That's a very interesting thing. Is there anything else you would add to that? Like any
just on what you've just mentioned there, and it's just triggered something in my mind. The being authentic.
Yeah.
In a way, is building rapport with yourself, right?
Yeah. That's right. That's so true.
So if you've got rapport with your true self, if you're connected with yourself at the deepest level, then you don't need to work hard at building rapport with another. When you know who you are, then you know that the other is also that same being. Right? Then there's the work disappears. The friction disappears. Then now I don't need to build rapport. As long as I'm engaged and in touch with who I am, then I'm just touching another life.
No, exactly, because that's almost like saying that, we mentioned roughly before about like judgments, the thoughts, like when you said you originally started on stage, you used to think, how did this go through? So you reckon we basically end up getting in our own way of building rapport with people because of these things we're projecting.
Exactly.
Where when you're being authentic, you're not really projecting anything, you're just being.
Correct.
Right?
And when you're being, it opens up not just yourself, but it allows the other person to open up as well, because they see that then the fear that would ordinarily exist of being judged is because you're carrying that fear as well, right? So if that fear doesn't exist in me, then I'm going to make it a lot easier for you to build that bridge, that connection, and drop your own fears of being judged. If you know in my presence that I'm not going to judge you, I'm not going to label you, I'm not going to put you in a box, I'm not going to hold opinions against you and all of that stuff. If you know that in a very short space of time of being around me, you're going to feel very comfortable reaching out and building that connection from heart to heart, right? So you move from the noisy connection to the authentic and genuine connection. I think it just drops everything very quickly when you've got it worked out yourself. Others will see it very quickly. You can see it, can't you? Right? It doesn't take long, and it opens them up. So you know what? I can have the conversation I need to have with this person.
That's really, really interesting, man. It's because my brain's like thinking about different ways about how people can do this online and share this same kind of chemistry in some way or another to ignite it. But it seems like it seems to be stemming from having an authentic message, being real with what you're doing. And I suppose you can get others to share that as well, so that you build some sort of social proof to allow people to say, actually, this guy knows what he's talking about. But there's a whole lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of work. It just, I reckon, I think like from what I'm getting from this is like one of the first steps is to actually get present, take the break, take a little break. Free yourself from your ambitious mind, as Bruce Lee would say, and learn the art of dying in a way, because there's
I like that.
killing off the thoughts and being present, and then allowing that space to develop around you to allow that connection to happen with other people. Yeah,
for sure.
Right.
And it transfers easily onto social media when you're doing it from that place. Because social media then just becomes an extension of who you are.
That's right.
Rather than a strategy. Right.
Exactly.
It's just you're doing whatever you do offline. You just share the same stuff online. And you capture the moments and share them as best you can. And I have so many messages from people around the world that I've never met. That feel so deeply connected. And feel like they've known me for years. And they've only known me for years online. But they feel like they know me personally.
Sure.
And I often get messages around that kind of conversation that I'm making profound differences in their life in different countries around the world, and they've never met me, but the impact is as if I was in their own home with them. They oftentimes, as people say, I often ask myself, what would Kalpesh do? What would Kalpesh think? What would Kalpesh, be saying about this situation? And that's powerful when you imagine that you can affect, and that's no financial transaction. That's no selling. That's really making a difference in the world on a global scale through a ripple effect, using social media as a vehicle to just reach more people that you would in somebody's living room.
So being authentic is the strategy.
For me. For me, it works, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So Caps, I know one of the things that you do really well and what you're really good at is the whole network marketing side of things as well. And even with network marketing, you have to have that. You build teams. You create an environment. You allow people to learn. Personal development is heavy in the whole kind of network marketing sphere. If you want to just share a bit about that and how you've kind of built rapport through those systems, how you built teams on that side of it.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, network marketing has been a love of mine forever.
Yeah.
And I say forever because although it was distinguished for me around 20 years ago as an industry, if I take that moment away of, oh my goodness, there's a business that's built around this model. If I go prior to that, then what is network marketing? It's marketing a message, yourself, through a network of people. And I've always done that.
Which you always do. Everyone does.
And everyone does. So by default, for me, network marketing is such a natural progression of conversation.
Yeah.
Because we're doing it anyway. And hey, if you can build a business around that practice, magical.
Yeah.
So I always found network marketing a really fascinating conversation. And it's really interesting. A lot of people see the end product now of having mastered the industry and having built teams all over the world and, really made it work in a very, very high level. So I'm always thankful for having that experience on several occasions. But more importantly, is, as I always teach people, is my first 3 years. It was never like the last 17 or 18. My first 3 years were like they are for most people that come into the industry, a massive struggle. On the one hand, I could see how on paper it was perfect. And on the other hand, when I went into the world and tried to replicate what I saw on paper that made so much sense, it never made any sense to others. And I'm like, what's missing here? It makes so much sense to me and doesn't seem to make sense to others. And that's where, one of the best places to learn how to build rapport with other people is network marketing. There's no doubt about it because it goes from theory, from reading about it or watching videos about it to actually delivering it. And that's where I was struggling. It was interesting how for 3 years I did okay. It was not like disastrous like many people. It was never, because I love the concept. And I'm not one of those people that, if I love the concept, I'm not worried about the result. I don't collapse the two. So for me, I knew this works. And I just couldn't understand why it wasn't working here, or as well as it should or could for me. And it would work a little bit, but not like what I saw was possible. And it was personal development that during those 3 years transformed me. And I joined for all the wrong reasons. I often say I joined network marketing because of the feeling it gave me. Because I was lucky enough that at the same time I got into network marketing, I started a telecom business as well. And that did tremendously well. So I never needed the money from network marketing. And people couldn't actually understand. So I was making obscene amounts of money from my telecom business at the time. They couldn't understand why I would show up 2-3 nights a week and give up maybe Saturdays or Sundays, training days, attending these events when I didn't have to. I had a really great, comfortable life outside of that. And the reason I showed up was the people. The people and the information and the learning that was being given from the stage. I was the student. It was making such a profound difference in my personal life because I was still repairing myself. From my dad's passing and me being that negative ball of energy, I got introduced to network marketing, and it was that positive energy and the information of self-awareness that I was using to rebuild my life. So for the first 3 years, I guess the reason I didn't succeed in making the mechanics of it work, because it wasn't my priority. I didn't join so I need to make extra money from this. I joined because wow, these people are amazing. And I want this information. I want this energy. I want this vibe. I miss it. That used to be me once upon a time. So I always encourage everyone to join. I'm like, look, forget the money, forget the pay plan, forget all of that is a byproduct. As far as I'm concerned, everyone should join network marketing for the sake of the learning experience. And I don't know if you remember, I know you must remember the first conversations we had. I met you in a network marketing environment.
That's right,
And I remember distinctly in a corridor having a conversation, me, you and Ketan, and you were ready to leave. You'd had enough. Your back was against the wall with it. You were sick and tired of the rejection. It wasn't working. All of the stuff that goes on for people. And the conversation I would have had with you then is the same conversation I'd have with anyone today. Hang in there. And it's not about that result. You're focusing on the wrong thing. It's about who you're becoming by pushing yourself into this situation where you're facing why you're experiencing all of this.
Yeah, that's true.
And you stayed.
Yeah.
And you became a testament to the personal development growth that is available.
Absolutely.
Because who you are today is a million miles from that person that was in that corridor that was completely the opposite,
Thanks to
right?
you, man.
Can you see what I'm saying? That
Absolutely.
How can you put a price on that?
Yeah, exactly.
No income
true.
is going to replace that transformation.
Yeah.
And that's why I say join network marketing for the right reasons.
Yeah.
You're going to learn how to build yourself. You're going to learn how to build others.
Yeah.
You're going to learn how to build rapport, connection, all the skills that count in life.
Yeah.
And hey, you know what? If you end up building a business out of it and making money,
that's the bonus.
Congratulations. But if you don't, you still win anyway.
Yeah. No, you absolutely. I mean, I same kind of thing because when, like you said, when I got into it, it made sense to me. And I saw it, I thought this makes sense. And I was fresh out of uni, so I was like, yeah, this is good. I went out and shared it with the world, and it was like rejection. I thought, why don't people understand this? What's going on here? Yeah?
It's called mass brainwashing.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a pivotal moment for myself as well, because it got me to think about, what am I doing? How am I coming across? What's going on here? You know, why are people not understanding this when this thing makes so much sense? And you're right, the PD's personal development side of it had a massive impact. And it allowed me, like you said, it allowed me to pause, go inwards, think about how I'm working. Where am I being real? Where am I being not real? And it's only when I managed to eventually get to myself, my true self, that I was like able to say, all right, okay, it doesn't matter now. It's like, chill, let's just go with the flow. So no, thanks to you, man. That was a massive shift for me at that time as well. So I get that side of it, definitely.
So yeah, if you're in network marketing, congratulations. If you're not in network marketing, get into network marketing and do it, because you're going to become a better version of yourself. The training, and it's all free. It's insane. When you join a network marketing company, personal development and growth, they give it to you for nothing. There's no huge high ticket upselling, run to the back of the room, there's only 7 spots left in this transformational course. No, they're going to give you transformational courses ongoingly for nothing. So just get involved, share the great news.
And how did you manage to inspire so many other teams to grow? Because there must have been some sort of connection or something going on there.
To be honest, it's just more of that. If we can get beyond the fear, greed, desperation, if you can remove all of that noise and say, no, this is about transformation, then isn't that easy to build anyway?
Yeah, that's true.
See, when I sit with somebody, that's just stuff. It's like, listen, you and me, we're going to do some really cool things together. We're going to have transformational conversations. I'm going to have your back. We're going to go forward, conquer, multiply, grow, develop, whatever we want to do for the rest of our lives. And by the way, in the meantime, we've got this vehicle that we can use. Versus making it about the vehicle. The vehicle's incidental. It doesn't matter what the vehicle is. It's the conversation you have prior to the vehicle, right?
Sure.
Too many people are focused on the vehicle being the thing they're building on or building around. I've always said from the beginning, build the relationships, build the people. That's incidental. Doesn't matter what that is.
Yeah, definitely. Did you ever think back then when we first met that we'd be sitting here together having this interview?
Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? My goodness. And again, I'm a big fan of nurturing long-term relationships. And for me, it's like, I'm just thinking back now, 2004, 2005? Around 2005?
So
we've known each other like 12 years, right? Who would have thought that?
I know.
Who'd have thought?
True.
And yet that's the beautiful thing about when you're genuine and you genuinely care, then stuff, it's just stuff.
It's exactly.
And then you're still there. Whatever stuff's going on in the world, you're still there when it's genuine, right?
That's amazing. Kalpesh, thanks for sharing that.
My pleasure. I'm looking forward to the next 12 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the 12 after that.
That's it.
Big long white daddy.
That's it. Awesome, man.
Love it. Thank you.
No, that's been amazing, Kalpesh. That's really been amazing.
Thank you.
I hope you guys have enjoyed that as well. I mean, Kalpesh, if people want to get in touch with you, how do they do it? How can they connect with you?
Very easily, actually. You can find me on pretty much most social media. My name is quite common, so I've kind of got Kalpesh Inspired Patel normally brings me up on social media. And my website, kalpeshpatel.com. That's pretty much it, right?
That's awesome. And Kalpesh, is there any like final words you want to share with the viewers, or?
I would like to share something actually to you. I love this camera. I want to share with you. So you would have watched many videos, I'm sure. If you're watching this video, then you're somebody that's a fan of watching videos that add value to you. Don't just be inspired by these videos, which is great. It's a great starting point, but be inspired to implement. I'm a big fan of always encouraging. Take baby steps. You know, people often come to these online or offline learning centers and miss that part of the puzzle. It's not about feeling good now, it's about feeling good sustainably over time. And how that happens is when you take even one thing from today and just start practicing it in your life, in who you are, in who you're being. And it might not be easy initially because it's new, but if you're consistent and committed to that, then over time it will become easier and more natural and normal for you. For me, we're all here for a very short time. We're here for a blip. And the biggest gift, I believe, that any human being can give in this world is the gift of enlightenment, the gift of awareness. And so for me, the reason I want you to take something away and implement it is because if you improve, then you can pass that on to somebody else. And the impact of that goes beyond your lifetime. So get committed to beyond your lifetime, because we don't know how long we're going to be here. And if the way you can start learning to live your life is learning to give and contribute and make that difference, then you never really die. You know, you leave the body, but your message lives on, right? And that for me is something that I'm so committed to doing always, is reminding myself I'm not here forever, but every conversation I have for as long as I'm here adds value and lives on in that person and in their life, even if they never see me again.
Powerful.
So do that.
Amazing, Kalpesh. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Jacinda.
I hope you guys enjoyed that, and thank you very much.